Welcome to Chat, Communications, Happenings, and Trends, with your host, Amanda Cumming, and producer, Janet Louise Meyer. Thank you for listening.
Welcome to Chat, Communications, Happenings, and Trends. So in 2012, there was a case in which a homosexual couple was denied services at a bakery for making or providing a cake for them for their wedding. So throughout the years, this went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And so today, the Supreme Court has ruled in a 7-2 decision that the bakery owner does have the legal right to deny services to this couple or to any couple based off of religious grounds. And so a lot of people are arguing that this is an achievement for the First Amendment rights because the bakery owner's religious rights were squandered or crushed or, I guess, somehow challenged because he or she was not able to discriminate against this couple, and it was infringing upon their First Amendment rights. However, the Supreme Court made this ruling based off religious rights over the First Amendment. Well, the First Amendment does actually apply to religious rights, technically, but it's actually the right for any type of religion you see fit. And it does also mention the separation of church and state. And so it is my opinion that no ruling should be based off of a religious principle or doctrine, because if the ruling does infringe upon someone else's rights, like in the case of this couple, who their rights to marriage and things like that was basically squashed in this case, then this religious doctrine or religious principle or making a decision based off of religion is unconstitutional. At least that's where I stand on this. It is not a good day. And today we are celebrating Pride Month. And so this was definitely not a good decision to see being made for the LGBTQ plus community, when now businesses now basically have carte blanche to discriminate as long as they say it's based off of a religious principle. So it actually could potentially open the door for a lot of discrimination cases. So if somebody decides that based off religion, they don't want to serve or service an interracial couple, they will find a passage in their religious document or text to verify that. If somebody wants to discriminate against another religious minority, for instance, that could be particularly complicated, but it could potentially open the door for that. And so I just think that this is not a good precedent to set. And it does feel like we are going backwards on this issue. Now, just to be clear, that they did make this decision based off of former laws on the books against sodomy. And because those sodomy laws were in effect prior to prior to 2015, when marriage became legalized across the United States, they deferred to that. To which I have to ask, how far back did we go on old and archaic laws to justify discrimination? Because again, we could go back to Jim Crow, right? Because there were laws on the books during those times that basically did say that people need to be separate but equal. And so do we go back to that to basically justify current rulings, even though racial discrimination should be and is illegal in the United States? I mean, how far back do we go? So I'm going to pass this question off to you, Janet. What do you think?
With the laws that were in Colorado at the time, because it was 2012, Colorado did not approve marriages, and the couple had gone outside the state to get married and came back and wanted to celebrate with their friends and family. And the thing with it is like it drives me nuts that the laws can even like kind of be like for, I understand religious freedom, and I understand, that's your choice to be in that religion. But you're talking apples to oranges when you talk about someone that's gay. I mean, they were born that way, that they're not making the decision to be gay. They are living their life, the life that they want to live. And that's not like, I mean, it gets so muddy in that whole thing if you're going to use religion to get away with certain things. I don't know how we do that, but then again, you have religious freedom, and you have to protect those people. My unpopular opinion on this whole thing is I'd rather know who these assholes are, because I don't want to buy anything from people that discriminate against people. But I'd rather have them show themselves, because God forbid someone goes to and I shouldn't say God here, because just imagine someone going to a bakery and the baker not liking that you're a gay couple and going, oh yeah, I'll make you a cake. You know what I mean? Like that was my first thought. But I mean, people have a right to not be discriminated against in that way. I mean, I couldn't even imagine if I walked into some place and they were like, oh, you know what? I have a story for this. Because when I was going into engineering, I had taken a year and a half of English and art at another school. And then I was going into engineering, and the dean there told me that I should go and just go home and bake cookies. And I know how I felt on that. I know how I felt then. That was like, I grew up in such, like, my parents were always just great. Like they don't discriminate. There was nothing sexist in my family. We were all equal, He had 3 daughters and a son, we were all pretty much equal, though, the son was the baby. So, but anyways, but I mean, like, that was just it threw me that someone could be that way. And so when the thing that drives me crazy about this is I get your religion doesn't have, your religion says, oh, gay people are not right and there's nothing right about them. So, I mean, basically your religion sucks. But besides that, there was nothing to do with this cake that would have shown that the baker was doing anything against his religion. There's nothing there. They weren't.
It wasn't like a religiously established bakery. Saying like the Christian bakery. We only service Christians or something like that. Which now the Supreme Court has basically given again the right to discriminate based off of religion. That people can say we only service Christians or we only service Muslims. I mean, could you imagine if there was a Muslim cake owner that said, I don't like you because you practice Christianity, and so you are not welcome in my store or my establishment, and I will not service you.
The whole thing is weird. And the two Supreme justices that dissented were Ginsburg and Sotomayor, of course, and they basically said that that, like what I was just saying, there was no proof that they didn't go forth and say, oh, we want a cake and we want it like you gotta say gay pride on it, or you gotta say, hey, gay weddings are awesome, or something like that. There wasn't. They didn't even get to the point of asking what kind of what they wanted on the cake or anything like that. So, they dissented and they said, they agreed with the commission in Colorado that this was discriminating against gay people. But of course, right now we have, more moderate to right-wing SCOTUS. So, I mean, these are the kind of decisions we're going to get. And these little tiny decisions that we get like this are going to keep adding up. And so we do have to watch these things. I mean, we could say, okay, this is such a little case, and it was only on this one case, like it's only pertaining to this one certain instance because I got married in 2012. Well, it doesn't really negate that this is not going to be used for anything else. It's there. The precedent is there, and now religious freedom will be used against discriminating against people for things that they can't help because that's the person they were born as.
Yeah, it absolutely will open the gate for that again. I don't doubt that we will not see more cases like this in the future because, again, the SCOTUS did not think long term about the impact that this particular case will have. They could, of course, deny to see subsequent cases and say that they've already litigated this. But if it becomes so problematic to the point where everybody's starting to discriminate based off of some religious doctrine or principle, and it's things like race and sex and, not just sexual orientation, on any other ground, on wearing a polyester plus cotton shirt. I mean, it seems so arbitrary, but it is arbitrary because religion is arbitrary. And people kind of select and choose what they like and what they don't like. Like, for instance, abortion is completely 100% a thing that happens in the Bible. And they basically say that if your wife ends up getting impregnated by another man, you have the right to help her get an abortion. Or you have the duty to help her get an abortion. And so abortion is a thing that happens in the Bible that is approved of by God, and it's just, and so is homosexuality for that matter. It's just like, there's one part where it says it doesn't like homosexuality and another part where it does approve of it. So what the hell? I mean, this is just people, again, choosing what they want. And this is why theocracies don't work, because you get to choose from the parts you like and throw away the parts you don't like. And that makes a confusing fucking mess for everybody involved.
You just listened to another episode of Chat, Communications, Happenings, and Trends. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Also, head on over to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/ActifyChat and help us bring more content to you by supporting us. Thank you, and keep fighting the good fight, my friends.